Retroactive jealousy can often cause people to spiral. In other words, to feel doomed, stuck in a loop of obsessive thoughts about their partner's past and asking questions, perhaps, or simply torturing themselves with mental movies. You know what I mean. Retroactive jealousy can cause us to enter a pretty dark place, sometimes for a few hours and sometimes even for a few days. So what should you do immediately after a retroactive jealousy spiral? In today's video, I'm going to try to answer that question. My name is Zachary Stockill, and since 2013, I've worked with hundreds of men and women from around the world one-on-one to help them beat retroactive jealousy for good. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, or you'd like more information about my work, please visit my website at retroactivejealousy.com. For the people here for the first time, the term retroactive jealousy refers to unwanted intrusive thoughts, often obsessive curiosity, and what I like to call mental movies about a partner's past relationships and/or sexual history. You can suffer from one of those symptoms, you can suffer from all three, but that, in essence, is what we call retroactive jealousy. So if you are in a dark moment with retroactive jealousy, or maybe even a dark few days with retroactive jealousy, how do you start getting out of that spiral? How do you start moving forward? Here are a few thoughts. Step one is simply take some time to breathe. It sounds silly. If you have a grandmother, her advice is probably something like, just take a few deep breaths, right? You hear that advice all the time. There's a reason people offer this advice. Because when we're in moments of anxiety or stress, quite often we're breathing very shallow, right? And even if it's kind of mild level anxiety, we're probably not breathing very deeply. And when we're not breathing deeply, it sends panic signals to our brain, and our bodies aren't getting enough oxygen. So it's going to elevate the anxiety that we're experiencing. So step one is simply to pause, try to relax your body as much as possible. Try to open the chest, open your body. So if you're kind of hunched over like this or something or whatever, that's not good. Try to open your chest and take a few deep breaths. It's the number one step you should take in any moments of anxiety or stress, in my strong opinion. I think that focusing on the breath, focusing on relaxing our body when things come up where we feel tense, is one of the most powerful first steps we can take when we're trying to get recentered, when we're trying to ground ourselves. Step two is to remember an important reframe to get out of any kind of negative spiral, whether it's about retroactive jealousy or anything else. And the reframe comes from Stoic philosophy, and it's very simple. The reframe is, what do I have power or influence over in this moment? The most miserable people in the world are people who spend most of their time focusing on everything that's outside of their control, whether that's politics or whether that's sometimes the environment or whether that's their partner or people at work or whatever. Everything that's outside of their sphere of influence, that's where they're spending their time focusing. That's what they're worried about. And of course, we all have moments where we're troubled by things that are outside of our sphere of influence. But there's a tremendous liberation, and there's a new sense of calm we will accept and we'll adopt once we start focusing and bringing the focus back continually to what we have power and influence over. One of my favorite speakers, a Buddhist teacher named Jack Kornfield, has this beautiful line. He says, "Tend to the part of the garden you can touch." So this is a great overall reframe for any stressful moment in life, but it certainly applies to retroactive jealousy as well. What do I have power and influence over in this moment? Well, I sure as hell don't have any power or influence over anything that happened in the past, whether it was 5 seconds ago or 50 years ago. The past is gone, I can't do anything about that. And I may not be able to control my thoughts when they pop into my head. What can I control? Well, instead of laying here and feeling sorry for myself, I can go outside and take a walk. I can start changing my emotional response to the intrusive thoughts when they come up. I can give my partner a hug just because. You get my point. I can go to the gym. I can change my diet and start eating better, or I can drink less alcohol, whatever. In any challenge in life, any area of challenge, there are always things that we have power and influence over. And the most empowered, positive people in the world are people who focus on what is within their sphere of influence. So this is a very, very powerful, very simple reframe. I strongly encourage you to start incorporating into your day-to-day life. Step three is to do something physical. So I mentioned taking a walk a moment ago. Maybe that'll involve doing a few push-ups, going to the park, playing some soccer, going to the gym, dancing around in your room for a minute, whatever. It sounds silly, but there is something nice in moments of stress or anxiety about doing something physical. Because number one, obviously you get those endorphins flowing, you get some positive neurochemical rewards when you engage in physical activity, so that's really nice. And also it gets you out of your head, right? Retroactive jealousy sufferers spend way too much time in our heads. Many of us are overthinkers. We're used to solving all of our problems with our brain, and we're not really in our body as much as we could be. And the irony is, many of the happiest people in the world spend most of their time in their body. They're not just in their head all the time, because there's tremendous liberation in just engaging the rest of our physical being rather than just living upstairs all the time. So do something physical to get you out of your head a little bit, something you enjoy. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing it either. Even just 5 or 10 minutes can be really good sometimes. But the point is, try to get out of your head a little bit by doing something physical. My final tip is to return to purpose. What does that mean? I think it's extremely important when you're struggling with retroactive jealousy, but just in general in life, to always have short-term goals, some long-term goals, and some sense of your mission, your purpose as an individual. Why are you on this rock? What is important to you? What are you working towards? How do you want to be better a year from now than you are right now? So returning to purpose means returning to your center and just remembering, okay, what is truly important to me right now? What is important in my life? What do I need to work on? What could I spend some time doing right now that's going to make tomorrow a little bit better? How can I work on myself so I'm a slightly better version of myself tomorrow than I am right now? That's very vague because it has to be vague. Everyone's going to have different short-term goals, long-term goals. Everyone's going to have a different sense of purpose. So today, I'm living out my purpose by recording this video. I had a bunch of things to do today and I was going to put it off, but it's like, no, I need to get this done. So here I am recording a bunch of videos. Obviously, I had a client call this morning. That was fantastic. That's living my purpose. I'm going to try to support my wife through some challenges later today. That's living my purpose. I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow morning. That's my purpose. You understand what I'm saying. And I also understand when you're in a tough moment in life, whether it's with retroactive jealousy or anything else, it can be easy to lose sight of our purpose and to put all this stuff off. And to wait until we feel better before we start taking steps towards our purpose and before we start living our purpose. And it's actually quite backwards a lot of the time, where we'll only start getting into momentum and feeling better when we start pushing ourselves to do the things we know we need to do, even when we don't feel like it. So if you don't feel like it right now, if you do something productive, something constructive, something that's going to allow you to have a slightly better future, that's often a great step towards emerging from a retroactive jealousy spiral. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and click the like button below. Leave a comment, tell me what you think, and while you're at it, please be sure you are subscribed to my channel. I get a lot of views on these videos. I have a lot of people watching my stuff every month, but not everyone, in fact, not even close to everyone is subscribed. So if you benefit from my content, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate that. I'm trying to get to 20,000. Thanks again for your time, and I'll talk to you again very soon.